Far From Noise by George Batchelor isn't quite what I would call a game. It's not a walking simulator either. In fact, you don't move in it at all. There's not even really much of a story to speak of, at least not in the traditional sense. But it's also not one of those things that would have worked just as well as a book or a short film. So what is it? I suppose you could call it an interactive artwork, designed to make you think and feel and reflect on your life and your position in the universe. And it does it well. The developer has also kindly granted me an extra key for the game to give away. Normally, I would wait until the end of a video to do a giveaway, but in this case, I want everyone to have the opportunity to enter without having to spoil anything about it for themselves. I can't tell you much about Far From Noise without spoiling it. If you're thinking of trying this one, it's best to go in blind. To be clear, I will do my best not to spoil anything in this video. The only footage I'm including is from the first 10 minutes or so of the game, and I'll mostly be discussing the overarching themes rather than any specific details. But if you want to go in completely blind, and I recommend doing so if you can, you should probably stop watching and come back after you've played the game. And if you don't have it and want to enter for a free key, just leave a comment on this video saying so. In 3 days, I'll draw a winner at random from the comments. Now, without further distraction, let's take a good look at Far From Noise. The game starts with a simple scene. It's a picturesque view of the sea from a cliff top. A single tree stands there, its leaves blowing in the breeze. You hear the waves crashing on the shore below, birds singing nearby. A car teeters back and forth at the edge of a cliff, creaking ominously. You are inside the car. The first thing I felt when I started playing the game was a surge of curiosity. Why am I in this car? How did I get here? How do I get off this cliff? Am I going to survive, or does this story end with me falling to my death? Remember, I went into the game completely blind, with no idea of what to expect. I didn't realize that this one scene was the entirety of the game. It's not about getting off the cliff. It's about being there. Again, I don't want to spoil the experience. I will say that the game progresses slowly, and at first I found that a little frustrating. I'm sure many others would as well, and if you spend your time looking for the game, or waiting for something to happen, you probably won't enjoy it very much. However, when I finally decided to go with it and accept the ride that Far From Noise was trying to take me on, it really drew me in. Allow me to get a little personal here. I was having a rough day when I sat down to play. I'm in the middle of a really trying period in my life under a huge amount of stress. My life situation is in limbo and I've been feeling absolutely powerless. It turns out that this game came to me at just the right time because it's all about that. When you're teetering on the edge of a cliff, whether literal or metaphorical, with no idea whether you'll survive or fall, what do you do? What can you do? This game sends the message that you can just be there, watch the world around you, and enjoy the sunset. It feels inspired by Buddhism and other philosophies of mindfulness. But it never forgets that you are still on that cliff, and it doesn't expect you to either. It just helps you get through the night. The developer's use of game design elements struck me as very powerful. The only interaction comes in the form of dialogue, or monologue choices. You can use the mouse or a gamepad to make choices about what to say or do. And I recommend using a gamepad if you can, since the developer has taken advantage of controller rumble to provide a more tactile and immersive experience. The writing is so good that the text in the game always feels natural, and when you reach the end, you might assume, as I initially did, that it must have no replay value. You've seen the story through to the end, and that's probably it. But actually, it's not. The choices you make, however similar or small they may seem, do have an impact on the story. And the developer has used another tool to make sure you know that. If you're playing Far From Noise on Steam, it has a handful of achievements. They seem like the types of achievements you'll get by just playing through the game, and essentially they are. Yet when you reach the end, you realize you haven't gotten them all. In fact, you can only get about half of them in one playthrough. There is more to the story, and a reason to go back, beyond the sheer ambiance and calm that it provides. Far From Noise might be an okay short story. It would probably be a very boring short film. But as a game, as an interactive experience, it shines because it's not some character in that car. It's you. It's you wrestling with questions about your own existence, about your choices, about life and death and loneliness and free will. If you allow yourself to be immersed, which, thanks to the visuals, sound, and even tactile feedback, is easy to do if you want to, you can be astounded by the beauty of this scene you're trapped in. By the time you reach the end, you realize this game was never about answering those questions you had at the start. It's about the time you spend there wondering and trying to let go of your need for answers. I find that games like this can be tremendously powerful tools for dealing with things like anxiety, stress, loss, depression, and more. There are plenty of people out there who've been helped with these issues by games, and it's a shame there isn't more of a focus on this aspect of games in the media in general. I, for one, would like to see a lot more like this. You can get the game on several platforms, including Steam, itch, PS4, and in the Apple App Store. I'll put links in the description below this video. It sells for $8 or euros, or £6. This means EU people, like me, will be paying more than anyone else for the game on Steam, which is unfortunately a common occurrence on Steam. But you can also get it on itch for the US price. I suspect some people will say this price sounds too high. After all, you can complete the game in a little over an hour, and there isn't even any real gameplay. To that I say, if it's not your thing, then of course you shouldn't buy it. However, to those who would enjoy and appreciate what the game is trying to do, and who could even be helped by it, as I was, it is absolutely worth that price. I suggest not comparing it to the price of other games based on the number of hours of gameplay, but rather comparing it to the price of a therapy session, or a short holiday, or a guided meditation lesson with an expert. At least for some people, it can truly serve this type of purpose, and that is far more valuable than you might realize. And remember, if you want to try the game for free, you can enter right here for a chance to win a Steam key. Just tell me in the comments that you'd like to enter, and the winner will be drawn at random on Saturday, December 2nd. I'll also be drawing the winner for my World of Goo giveaway and starting my Stardew Valley one, so if either of those games interest you, take a look at the rest of my channel for more. Thanks for watching, and may you enjoy the sunset, whatever cliff you're stranded on.